The empty station, a true urban legend. You should always check the subway map before you get on an unfamiliar line and know what stops are coming. If the train stops at a place not on the map, do not get off. I didn't believe it at first either, not until I experienced it myself. It all started when my friend Julie told me about the empty station. I thought she was just messing with me. The story went that if you took certain subway lines late at night, they sometimes stop at this station that doesn't show up on any map. The train doors will open and it'll look like any other station, dimly lit, old, and a bit run down. But here's the catch. No one remembers getting on the train there. No one gets off. And those who do, they don't come back. So one night I was taking the subway home from a party, a little tipsy, admittedly, and I forgot what Julie had said. It was late, maybe around 2 a.m., and I got on the last train out of the city. The car was practically empty except for this old man sitting in the corner, staring out the window like he'd seen some serious shit. I didn't notice at first, but after a few stops, I realized the train wasn't following the route I thought it was. The names of the stops were wrong, and then it happened. The train stopped. The lights flickered for a second and the doors opened, but the station outside was completely unfamiliar. The sign was half faded, just a mess of graffiti. I was confused, so I pulled out my phone to check the subway map, but there was no signal. I thought maybe I'd just missed a transfer or something. I almost got up to leave, but something didn't feel right. Then I remembered what Julie had said. I hesitated, sitting back down just as the old man across from me looked over, his eyes wide. He didn't say anything, just shook his head slowly like he knew. I'll never forget the look in his eyes. Two people from the far end of the car stood up and walked out laughing, like it was no big deal. They didn't even glance at the sign, didn't seem to care that we were in the middle of nowhere. The doors closed behind them, and for a split second I thought about running out after them. But then I saw it, just out of the corner of my eye. The two people, the ones who got off, they stopped. Like, just outside the train, they froze. It was like they didn't know where to go. They turned around, looking confused, their faces pale under the flickering lights. I could see their mouths moving, but there was no sound. The train started moving again, leaving them behind. As we pulled away, I caught a glimpse of them in the distance. They were just standing there, still as statues. The air in the car felt heavier, colder, like I'd dodged something. I thought that was the end of it, but the weirdest part came later. A few days went by and I kept thinking about those two. I couldn't get their faces out of my head. I tried looking up the station, but nothing came up. No records, no old maps, nothing. I even asked Julie if she knew anyone who had actually been to the station, but she just gave me this haunted look and said, "No one really knows what happens to the people who get off there." But they don't come back the same, if they come back at all. Then, last week I was scrolling through social media and I saw a post from a missing persons group. Two people, a guy and a girl, had disappeared a few nights ago. The photo was blurry, but it was them, the ones who got off the train. I don't know what happens at that station, but I'll tell you this. If the train ever stops somewhere unfamiliar, even for a second, stay on board. Because once you step off, you may never make it back.